Some cases refuse to fade, not because they lack answers, but because there are too many and none of them agree. A child disappears from her bedroom on Christmas night. A ransom note appears on a staircase. The police arrive. The house fills with people. And 7 hours later, the child is found dead, still inside the home. This case has been examined for nearly 3 decades by detectives, by prosecutors, by the media, by the public. And yet, despite all of that attention, there is no arrest, no trial, no resolution, only questions. Tonight's episode is not about choosing a side. It's not about proving a theory. It's about examining what actually happened, what went wrong in the earliest hours, and what still doesn't sit right, no matter which explanation you believe. I'm Johnny Black, and this is Unsaid Case Files. In 1996, the Ramsey family lived a life that many would describe as ideal. John Ramsey was a successful businessman, the president of Access Graphics, a computer software company recently acquired by Lockheed Martin. Financial records would later show his net worth hovering around $6 million. Patsy Ramsey was a former beauty queen, Miss West Virginia, 1977, who stayed home to raise their children. They lived in a large home on 15th Street in Boulder, Colorado. Their daughter, JonBenét Patricia Ramsey, was 6 years old. She attended kindergarten. She loved performing. She competed in child beauty pageants. That last detail would later dominate headlines, often overshadowing the far more important truth. JonBenét was a child. She also had an older brother, Burke, who was 9 years old at the time. On Christmas Day, 1996, the family attended a party at a friend's house just a few blocks away. When they returned home that night, JonBenét had fallen asleep in the car. Her parents carried her upstairs and put her to bed. They planned to wake early the next morning. They were leaving town for Michigan. Nothing about the night stood out, at least nothing that was ever admitted. At approximately 5:25 a.m. on December 26th, Patsy Ramsey woke up and headed downstairs. On the spiral staircase, she saw something that immediately shattered the morning. A ransom note. 3 pages long, handwritten, placed deliberately. The note claimed JonBenét had been kidnapped by a small foreign faction. It demanded $118,000. It warned again and again not to contact police. Patsy screamed for John. She ran upstairs. JonBenét's bedroom was empty. At 5:25 a.m., Patsy called 911. Her voice was frantic. Her words rushed. Before the call ended, the phone appeared to pick up background noise. Voices that some later claimed included Burke. The Ramseys have disputed that interpretation ever since. Police arrived within minutes. The kidnapping clock had started. 2 Boulder police officers responded to the call. They searched the house, but only briefly. No forced entry, no obvious signs of a struggle. They did not seal the home. Instead, friends were allowed inside. A minister arrived. Victim advocates arrived. People cleaned the kitchen, wiped counters, moved freely from room to room. If evidence existed, It was being contaminated in real time. One officer checked the basement and paused at a closed door latched from the inside. He did not open it. Hours passed. The ransom deadline came and went. No phone call. No instructions. At around 1 p.m., Detective Linda Arndt asked John Ramsey and family friend Fleet White to search the house again, looking for anything unusual. John went straight to the basement. This time, he opened the door. Inside the basement wine cellar, JonBenét's body lay on the floor. She was wrapped in a white blanket. Duct tape covered her mouth. Her wrists were bound with cord. A garrote made from a nylon cord and the broken handle of a paintbrush was tightened around her neck. John picked her up. He carried her upstairs. In doing so, the crime scene was irreversibly compromised. Later, investigators would describe this moment as catastrophic. The kidnapping was over. This had never been a kidnapping. The autopsy revealed a brutal truth. JonBenet had suffered a massive skull fracture, over 8 inches long. She had also been strangled. The official cause of death was listed as asphyxia by strangulation associated with craniocerebral trauma. There was evidence of sexual injury, though no semen was found. The injury appeared to involve the same paintbrush used to create the garrote. Her vaginal area appeared to have been wiped clean. In her stomach was partially digested pineapple. On the kitchen table, a bowl of pineapple with a spoon. Neither parent remembered feeding it to her. Patsy's fingerprints were on the bowl. The timeline began to fracture. The ransom note remains one of the most analyzed documents in criminal history. 3 pages, written calmly, filled with movie quotes. The FBI stated it was highly unusual for such a note to be written at the crime scene. The pen and paper came from inside the house. A practice draft was found. The amount demanded, $118,000, matched John Ramsey's recent bonus almost exactly. Handwriting experts examined samples from more than 70 people. John was eliminated. Patsy was not. But she was never definitively identified either. Some experts said the note suggested her authorship. Others said it did not. The note threatened violence, yet no attempt was made to collect the ransom. If the note was real, why leave the body? If it was staged, why make it so elaborate? Years later, male DNA was found on JonBenét's underwear and long johns. It did not match anyone in the family. Some investigators believe this DNA belongs to the killer. Others warn that touch DNA, especially in a contaminated scene, can come from innocent contact. Former investigators openly disagreed. Some resigned. A grand jury voted in 1999 to indict John and Patsy Ramsey, not for murder, but for placing their daughter in a dangerous situation. The district attorney refused to prosecute. The public wasn't told until 2013. 2 dominant theories remain. One says the crime came from inside the house. The other says an intruder entered, killed JonBenét, and vanished. Evidence exists on both sides, but none of it, alone or combined, has been enough to close the case. Meanwhile, the media turned the tragedy into spectacle. Lawsuits followed. Settlements followed. Documentaries followed. But justice did not. Today, the murder of JonBenét Ramsey remains an active homicide investigation. Boulder police continue to test evidence as DNA technology advances. They've followed more than 21,000 tips. They continue to ask for information. Because despite everything, someone knows what happened that night. A 6-year-old girl was killed in her own home. The truth didn't disappear. It was buried under mistakes, assumptions, and noise. I'm Johnny Black, and this has been Unsaid Case Files.